Well, good morning and welcome to another video on the channel. This one I've been looking forward to quite a lot. And I'm here at Linear Fisheries on Tar Farm 6, Peg 6. You can see it behind me there. I'm kind of in a corner, which is exactly what I wanted. Only because it's kind of out of the way of the the other swims. So I think a fish just rose up there. You can see the telltale rings behind me. Don't know if you can, but yeah, and I wanted to have sort of a couple of days. I think it's now Wednesday morning. I'm here till Friday morning, so a couple of days to see if we can catch something. I mean, in all honesty, it is more about having a good chill and just some kind of me time and relaxing. And if I can put a fish or two on the bank, I'll be happy. But we've just got to the swim. You can't sort of start until 10 o'clock when you sort of book. Just realised also behind me is where is it? There, Portaloo. It's handy, nice and close, just what's needed. So yeah, you can't start till 10. It's just before 10 now. I've had myself a McDonald's breakfast en route, of course, just to give me a bit of energy to get everything out the car and get settled. Now I Google Earthed or Google Mapped this area of the lake just so I could see how close I can park and all that kind of thing. And obviously the car is literally just there, so I didn't bother bringing a barrow, which did I did wonder that there was a chance that I'd turn up, maybe they're spawning or something like that, and I'm going to have to move legs. Then I would need a barrow, which I would have been, yeah, it wouldn't have been good having to walk all of this stuff to a swim, but I risked it. Spoke to Linear yesterday or the day before. They spawned on here a couple of weeks ago, so that shouldn't be an issue. It should all be fine. Fish have come out. It is quite a weedy looking lake. I did know that beforehand, but they did say this is less weedy down this end. It's also a very shallow lake, sort of 6 foot. It's kind of at its deepest. But let's stop jabbering. I think what I'm probably going to do is just stand here, have a good old look for a while, see if I could see any signs. Then we'll get everything out of the car. It is predicted to be fairly wet today, so I'll probably get the bivvy up quite quickly, just so that everything doesn't get wet if it does start to rain. It was raining this morning when I left. So yeah, let's get cracking and see what we can do. A little side note, if you are coming to Tar Farm Lake 6, I can only speak for Peg 6, that's where I am, and you've had a fair amount of dry, hot weather like we have leading up to your fishing trip, sadly you will need a mallet. I'm so glad I put mine in. Most of the time I don't bother because the pegs these days, you just twist them and they go through near enough anything. They're really good, but not here. This ground that this bivvy is now on is like granite. I tried the twisting. I got through maybe a few millimeters of the top. Then it just stopped. So I had to give it a little bit of a beating to get it through that top bit. Once you're sort of an inch or two in, then it just twists like normal. It's fine. I hate using mallets because I think now probably any fish that was in front of me is probably not. But hopefully we can tempt them back with some bait. Because I've got to fresh the water to a foam with a marker rod anyway, so it's not a problem. So yeah, just a little side note, probably best to pack a mallet. Well, I'm just scanning the water at the moment. I thought I heard a slurp to my left. It might have just been a duck or a coot. But I fired some dog biscuits out there anyway, although I think the duck that swam in has probably eaten them all. But I'm now concentrating on watching that area just to see if I can see any fish show or come up onto the surface to take a dog biscuit. I have seen another species of fish literally just now. A fairly sizable pike, maybe possibly knocking doubles. Literally swam in front of me and then bolted back out. So that was quite nice to see. I'm not here for them, and I have nothing to target them with anyway. I didn't know there was any pike in here. I don't think there's much of anything else bar carp, as far as I know. I don't think there's much tench or bream. Nothing's mentioned anyway. I think it is predominantly carp. But I'm just getting set up now. I've got me, let me pan down here. There we go. I've got my little bucket with my water container on the top of it to splash my spool so I can get the marker rod out and have a little chuck about, see if I can find any areas that are better than others. I don't know. I think from looking out here it's fairly weedy, not to the surface but fairly weedy, but I'm fishing solid bags, so it will work. It should sit on top of them fine. It's just applying bait and making sure everything's in the same area. That's why I'm using the marker float. Could just use a lead rather than the float, but I like it with a float on. So let's get that out and see what's out there. Right, so here's the marker float setup. Very simple. Seen it a million times in other places, I'm sure. Most people don't actually use a marker float anymore, they just lead about. But I like a float. So it's just a simple, we've got a lead on the end, well not on the end, but on the line that slides up and down like so. I've got a small section of boom there, which is very thick mono, hopefully to help with the weed situation. Then at the end, big old, very buoyant, very Larry float. Now, rod and reel. Now, I was supposed to change this, and I completely forgot. So I've got, I think it's something like a £40 braid to a, or is it a £30 braid to a £40 shock leader braid, something like that. But I actually prefer a heavy braid on the spool to like a nylon, or not nylon, like a thick mono leader, rather than braid to braid. It just doesn't make sense to me. Last time I used this, I ended up having the braid wrapped around a ring on the sort of second part of the rod, and when I cast out, that rod tip went flying into the lake. Luckily, because it's all connected, I got it back. But I just don't really like braid to braid like this. So I've got to make sure that I keep an eye on it, keep it wet, more important than anything. And yeah, see what we can find. Now, the one thing I have seen is that I have a line clip on, so I have no idea how far out that is. It may be. I think I was fishing a bad shot Lee last time, which was a lot longer distance than this, I would think. So yeah, we'll try and get that off. But yeah, let's give it a good old moistening, if that's a word, and yeah, see what's out there. Maybe this is why people don't use a marker float. Because it makes life a lot harder. That's a nice place. That seems... I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a bait there and get everything, but... it's something. It's over to my left, so I may set the rods up here and fish 2 over towards that point, 1 on it, 1 just to the right maybe. It's if I can get him there, that's my only concern. Let's clip that up. It's not a far cast. Straight to weed though, just outside there. Lots of weed. I think I'm going to have to just choose somewhere like that. And then just fish on top. Let's just try that again. Let's keep searching, I think. Right, I found 2 areas that I'm gonna fish. I won't say I'm happy with them. I've managed to get the float to pop up in both of them, which is a bit of a plus. But literally, as soon as that float goes down and you start pulling it towards you, you can feel the weed. So it's, I don't think I'm gonna get much better, let's put it that way. So we'll see what happens. If I get absolutely nothing and it's obvious that those areas are not going to work, I may just start putting bags around here and there in the swim. Expert pub chucking, that's what I'll call it. But 2 rods are both set, well, 2 spots are both set, clipped up, both of them. One's only 6.5 wraps to my left, and then 10 straight out in front of me. So they're not far, they're not long distance. So should be easy enough to bait up with me spom, or impact spod, should I call it? Actually, I think they called it the Foxman's impact spom, impact spod. Don't know. It's the Fox version of a spom, but I need to get some bait prepared. So, and it's going to be slightly different. And this is the first time that I've been carp fishing in quite some time that I'm not using the Angler's Hideaway boilies. Obviously, Angler's Hideaway sadly shut last year. I used a bit of the surplus boilies that I had, but they've all gone now. So what I've decided to do is go back to a bait that I used before the Angler's Hideaway bait, which will be krill, sticky krill. I used to have, really good success with this. It did seem to start going off, and I started to feel like I wasn't catching very well on it. That's when I started using the Angler's Hideaway bait and started to do really well. So I've kind of reverted back, hoping that, hoping that it's going to be better or good. I can still catch with it. I've gone krill heavy. If krill doesn't work on this lake, I'm absolutely knackered. I was just about to swear then. So I've got krill boilies, krill pellets, krill wafters, krill glug stuff. Along with some normal bait. I've got some normal pellets in here that will go in just as a bulker, and of course a large amount of sweet corn. So I am going to start by emptying my bucket in here. Oh dear. Now I'm not going to go absolutely crazy with the bait to start with, because I just don't know. Well, I can tell you that no one's fished this swim for probably 4 or 5 days at least, because I've been you have to book the swims here on the Catch app. So I was able to try and see when I can book on from. So I know no one's fished this swim for a few days. In fact, I don't think many people have fished the lake for a few days. So whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know. But I'm not going to go chucking a shed load of bait out till I get some kind of indication that there is fish in the area. If I put some bait out, start seeing them, getting line bites and things like that, then I might introduce some more. But for now, we're going to do a moderate amount of bait. So that's probably too much. We're going with about that much pellet. Then we're going to do some whole boilies. Just a few. Then we're going to get the crusher out, which is in this one. the old classic crusher. Should really get a bigger one. I think this is only a small one or a medium one. And then literally just a couple of turns. Just break them up a bit. I don't want like powder, just broken up. Just enough to release those scents into the water. So now we've basically got that. So we've got a few pellets, we've got some broken boilies, and we've got some whole boilies. Next, I'm going to go in with some corn. Actually, no. First, we've got some of this glug. Let's just pour a bit of that over, not too much. Lovely. And we get a whole tin of corn. These are only little ones, so I'm going to go with 2 tins, water and all. There we go, that's basically the finished mix. We'll give that probably 10 minutes to sort of get all the juices into everything, then we'll spot it out. Well, the rods are out. They are on the dance floor, as they say. Both went exactly where I wanted them, which is nice. Probably because one's only 6.5 wraps and one's only 10 wraps, so it's not a big chuck, you know, at all. Very, very easy, even with a fairly, well, it's classed as a small solid bag, but you know, even with a couple of ounces of lead in there plus the solid bag, you know, you're 3.5 ounces, I would think, maybe 4. So, yeah, happy with how it went out. So they're all set. I've already had a little beep beep on the right hand rod, but yeah, hopefully something will come along. But I'm going to have myself something to eat now. Some lunch. I've just sprayed myself all up with suntan lotion because it is hot, like burning kind of hot. But by the look of it, it won't be long, and then the sun, which is dead above me now, will be over there slightly, and then I should get the shade from these trees to my right. So yes, I think a pot noodle will be the lunch for the day, and then yeah, I'm just going to chill. I'm probably not going to do a lot of recording from now unless something happens for a while, because yeah, this is about me chilling as well as fishing. So yeah, I will sit back, I will relax, I'll have a coffee, I'll have a pot noodle, maybe even a sleep. Who knows? If I feel like it. Read a book, do whatever I like. In fact, it's even nicer now, in fact, in a way. What I thought was going to be a downside when I pulled up here and started fishing, I took some pictures and put them on the Tailored Anglers like WhatsApp group. And they won't send because there is literally zero reception. There is, if I walk up, literally the car's only there. If I walk to the other side of the car, then I get 4G. Down here, I get nothing. Like E, whatever E is, and E doesn't give me anything. So, yeah, no one can bother me. No one at all. Which is kind of nice. I've just realised there is a coot right over where I'm fishing. Is he diving? See if he's diving. I mean, I probably won't film that if I catch a coot, because that's not great. Oh, another beep on the right hand rod. That's definitely not the coot, because the coot's on the left hand rod. It's just kind of milling around. I think he's a little bit too far out from where my bait is actually, but hopefully that means there's a fish in the area where the right hand rod is, so that maybe that's something bumping into the line. Who knows? But yeah, time to have a chill, kick back, relax, and see what happens. Retreat. Oh, didn't realise it was still recording. Right, hopefully this will calm down and I'll be able to get... Oh, God. I'm so glad I've got the bivvy up now. Right, let's batten down the hatches for a little while. I was literally just thinking of changing my rod, the one that was left out, onto a zig rig. I was getting all angry because I'd forgotten most of my zig rig kit. So I was kind of seeing what I could do with it. And it went beep beep and just lifted up a little bit. And then it screamed off. I'm hoping. Yeah, it's definitely through a weed bed. I can see the fish on the other side from where the line is, which is worrying. But it's still on. Oh, don't they hang on. That's a lovely looking mirror. And he's in. Plenty of depth there for a couple of minutes whilst we make sure that the mat and everything's all wet, because obviously it's so hot. Although it did rain earlier, I think everything's probably dry by now. So let's get this all set up, then we'll get them out and have a look. Right, I actually disgorged this one whilst it was still in the water. Just because if I can do that, it's just a lot easier. Then you could just roll the net up and then put it straight into the retainer to bring to the bank. He's not a big fish. He's not a weigher. He's not happy, but let's get him up. He's a very, very angry fish. One so small. Ooh. It's gonna go, there we go. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful mirror carp. It may be 10, 12 pounds, something like that. Not huge, but a lovely fish. Let's put it back. Now, I did just notice a tiny bit of blood on my hand. Just as I was lifting the fish out, well, putting the fish back down again. He's got a very slight cut on his chin there. Probably it could have been from a fight through going through the weed or something like that, but Well, it's always best to carry a bottle of stuff. Spray that on, and that will help him out. So now, got a bit of a blue tinge to him, but there we go. Right, let's move that out of the way, and we'll release him in a retainer. Is getting on now. I had myself a couple of toasties, but absolutely delightful. The sun is slowly going down. I've brought both rods in at the moment. Plan was to spot out the load of bait in the area straight in front, and I'm going to fish 2 rods, one either side. I've seen no activity anywhere else. I have seen fish coming out at that kind of distance where those rods were, where the bait is. So I'm going to put some more in a little bit. Just waiting for the sun to drop a little bit more. It's still, well, probably got a couple of hours yet until it's all the way down, but probably in about half an hour or so I'll start some spotting. So at the moment I'm just putting some dog biscuits in. See if anything comes up. If I start to get a response, then maybe I'll have a go at that before I put the other rods in. But nothing yet. I don't even know. I've not got a huge amount of even dog biscuits left. I've got a great big sack of them at home as well. I should have just brought them and put them in the car. Lessons have been learned on this trip. Not to take half measures, because half the things that I've taken out I've wanted. Typical, absolutely typical. The fluff is still fluffing everywhere. Unbelievable amount of fluff. I've got fluff in the lake, I've got fluff out here, I've got fluff in the bivvy. I even had fluff on my cheese toastie. Alright, I'm going to keep scanning the water now that I've put some dog biscuits in. If I see a few carp come up, then I'll probably have a little go on the surface for a bit. Well, that's kind of it for me for the evening now, really. Both rods are out. Load of munger over the top, as they say. Yeah, finally got all the spoms out. Took ages because this flipping swan just stood there. Well, didn't really stood there or stand there. It was just swimming right in the middle, right where the spom lands. So he moves out the way. I'd cast one out, then he'd try and dash in there and see if he can get any of the goodies before they hit the bottom. I don't think he got a lot, to be fair, and he's gone now. So yeah, plenty of bait gone out. I think about 10 spoms or so went out. Got one rod left, one rod right of the spot. So yeah, down to the carp now. I'm gonna sit down, tie some solid bags up because I've only got a couple left, and see what the evening brings, I suppose.